My name is Paige Elizabeth. I am an Ashtanga yoga practitioner and teacher. I began my journey into Ashtanga yoga back in 1998. It's been an amazing journey and love affair ever since. I nicknamed fourth series the rabbit hole because that's what it feels like when you're learning it, like you're falling further and further down this rabbit hole where nothing makes any sense. Every series kind of has its own rhythm, its own message, its own story, and fourth series is certainly no exception. I remember when I first got into the practice, I was 16, and of course, being as young as I was very, asana inspired and asana driven. I promised myself that I would finish fourth one day. That was my goal, was to arrive at that place. Almost 19 years later, I made it. So the first, second, and third series all seem to kind of follow a formula. They make sense in the sense that the sequences build on each other, but fourth series is a lot different. A friend of mine was asking when I was learning, how I would describe it, and I said, if we live in a three-dimensional world, then fourth series is like 4 or 5D, because you're no longer working structurally based on vertical and horizontal lines. You're now working into another dimension, or the angles. So a lot of the poses, what appear to be so simple, like they look kind of straightforward until you adjust your arm a degree or you adjust your foot a degree, and now the stretch is something entirely foreign. And I certainly had plenty of moments on the mat where my mind could not differentiate the good stretch versus bad stretch. The sensation I was experiencing was so foreign to me that my mind couldn't even tell me if it was good or bad. So it's definitely a different experience. We don't do as many vinyasas like you would in primary. It's a lot more of the pushing through the floor and jumping up and back like you do in second. Energetically, fourth series is known to be a practice that works your pelvic floor. And with a pose called Yoni Dandasana, that's certainly evident. Yoni being Sanskrit for vagina. So you definitely redefine the pelvic floor in this series. But all in all, fourth series makes no sense from pose to pose. They don't seem to build on each other. And actually, I was informed by my teacher that the series was designed to take you to polar extremes. So you'll do poses, from pose to pose, you're gonna go into not a foundational process, but an actual extreme process. So each pose that you do doesn't build, it actually, if you went from one angle on the first pose, you're gonna go to another angle on the other. It's evident when you dive into that rabbit hole.